Green Man! 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 Holy YouTube video, Green Man!
Alright, here we are again. It's Birthday Book Friday, where I go through some of my birthday books, which is books cover dated September 1969, same year as I'm cover dated. that's the month for some of my births to forget anyway, so these are my birthday books. So we've got Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, and Strange Suspense Stories. Right, not the greatest condition, this one. It's got a bit of, quite a lot of marking, whatever you call it. I don't know what they're called. Spotting or something like that. Yeah, it's just not as good as it could be. Let's leave it at that. Right, let's zoom in a little bit. Right, Nick Fury, A Day in the Life is the name of this comic. Right, so this is number 14 of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Basically, it starts off and he's in some kind of crazy brain scanning machine. There's been a couple of things that are going on in the S.H.I.E.L.D. They've made this guy, Dr. Kraus, I think his name is, he's made him suspicious of him. So he's put them in Nick Fury, in this psycho projector to try and work out what's going on. Basically, there was this guy called Super Patriot, and it ended up having Nick Fury's face. They fought him and it had Nick Fury's face when he took the mask off, so it's all a bit confusing. So they're reading his brain, basically, this psycho machine, and he doesn't remember he's in it, so they take him, after 2 weeks or something, he's exhausted, so they take him back to his flat and put him in his bed, kind of thing. Alright, and what he doesn't know, so he wakes up really, he feels like he's really hungover, and there's an agent from the Hydra who's been instructed to try and kill him. He's been given 24 hours to try and kill him. This lady, I don't know what she's doing in his house, but he seemed quite pleased to see her. Val, that's Val. I think she's an ongoing character. And then we got this lady, Agent Huff. She only appeared in this issue. This is her debut, and she never appeared again. She's like his secretary, but for some reason they had her for one issue, and that was it. They never put her in again. But meanwhile, this Hydra agent has been instructed to try and kill him. There's gas in the shower there. Gas! He manages to escape. Then there's a guillotine blade inside his closet, his cupboard. Cuts his suit in half. He's trying to get dressed. But this Agent 72, he's been tasked to try and to bump him off in the name of Hydra. Right, so he starts to leave for work at the helicarrier carrier. There's a couple of guys chasing after him. He manages to zap them. Then he gets in, he decides to get away from the cops, so he gets in his flying car, whoosh, straight up into the sky. Then he nearly gets killed by a tricked out, sabotaged shaver charger. This is in the day before mobile phones, so he wouldn't have a mobile phone charger there, so it's just for charging his shaver so he can shave in the car. But he nearly gets electrocuted, but luckily the jolt sends him flying backwards and it unplugs it. Then one of his engines on his bloody car packs up. Again, probably sabotage. So he has to parachute out of it, landing on the helicarrier. Right, when he's there, he's told he's not got much to do today. He's got a meeting with this guy, the Gaffer, I think he's called, who is like he's kind of like Q from James Bond. He's made him a new motorbike, a flying motorbike, basically. That's what he's done. But a nice flying motorbike, always come in handy. Yeah, just showing off all the stuff that he can do. And he goes to his secretary, Agent Huff. I say only been in it for this issue, but she's my birthday girl because she shares her first appearance with mine. Unfortunately for her, it was her last appearance as well. I've managed to last a bit longer, but she's already in love with Nick Fury, even though she's only there for one issue. I only wish you'd forget how much older than me you are and learn to think of me as a woman. Oh well, as long as you're in your office, at least I know I can protect you. Right. So he's been spied on in his office as well by his own staff because they're still this psycho thing they were doing with him. They're still trying to evaluate him to find out. I think he might be a double agent, so they're checking he's not contacting any enemy agents, that kind of thing. Dum Dum doesn't really believe anything about it. They start talking about his control serum. They said they had a control serum on him for 2 days, but I didn't see any note of any kind of control serum. All it just said is he was in this psycho reader thing. Yeah, but anyway, they just started talking about a control serum. This right now they get his name wrong. The doctor, supposed to be Dr. Kraus, I think he was, and here this guy Jones, I think that's the bugler, isn't he? A bugler like what's his name? Like Jericho Jones, Gabriel Jones, I think it is. He calls him Dr. Sammartino, but in the Marvel wiki it says that's a mistake. I think his name was Dr. Kraus, but it turns out he's actually Agent 72. He says that he thinks he's lying to them, saying that he thinks he's been consulting with the enemy. And Dum Dum says that's weird because also a Shield agent was killed. It was forced to kill a Shield agent as well, so Dum Dum's been doing some research on this Shield agent that had to be killed. Obviously, it's in a previous issue. I don't know what the story was behind that. And he says that guy was actually a double agent, and it was interesting that you and him were messaging each other. You and Rickard had a bunch of meetings on the sly. Why? Get your hands off me. I'll have your rank for this, Duggan. And then he gets gassed out because he's been exposed. He knows that he's exposed. He's actually an agent of Hydra. He's Agent 72. So he says, right now is the time for me to go and kill Fury. Fury's just having a nap in his office because he's zonked out for being in that psycho reader for... Mind you shouldn't smoke and sleep. Look at that. That could start a fire. That could have the whole... This is your safety announcement for this issue. Do not smoke in bed, okay? You can burn the whole bloody house down and kill everybody. And what a way for Shield helicarrier to be destroyed. By the way, I've still got my cold. You can probably tell it in my voice. Anyway... So Agent Huff leaves him, then the Agent 72, the Hydra agent, he comes along with his gun, hides it behind, he's had it hidden behind his back. She sends him into the office to talk to Fury, because that's what he wants to do. So obviously Fury's asleep, this guy's got a gun, he's going to have the drop on him. He's woken up now. But just as he's about to shoot him, Agent Huff walks in as well, again. Colonel, I just wanted to... Nick! What? Huff! You'll never know how glad I am to see ya! Ugh! Sorry to foul your plans, buddy, but I don't expect the same out of you. Nicky! Crash. Nice try, Colonel, but not good enough to stop me. That's what you think, you creep. Blast him, Gabe. The Colonel's down. But Agent 72 is able to escape. He smashes out the window. You think the helicarrier windows would be a bit tougher than that, but he manages to break the window and fly out with a jetpack that he's handily wearing underneath his clothing. So here he's got green trousers on and a white... lab coat, and then suddenly he takes off a blue coat that he wasn't wearing and he's fully garbed out in Hydra uniform. Some special quick change outfits that the Hydra agents have. Anyway, he manages to break out and Agent Huff is all over Nick Fury. Soon as I thank my secretary here for saving my hide. Oh, you don't have to thank me, sir. The devil I don't. You just stop squirming and come here. But he's still pondering about why the Super Patriot looked like him when he was unmasked, so he's still not too sure what's going on. And I'm pretty sure that this boss-secretary relationship would not be permitted in today's environment. Just going out for a hug with your secretary, stop squirming, I'm going to give you a hug, like it or not. I mean, fair enough, she likes it, so that's okay. But I just don't think that would be allowed in today's environment. Try it with your secretary today. Just tell her you stop squirming, and I'm going to give you a hug, and see if she kicks you in the balls or not. Anyway, next issue, the assassination of Nick Fury. Pretty much the whole of that issue was an attempted assassination of Nick Fury. But in next episode, it's all assassination of Nick Fury. Anyway, so that was Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. 14, A Day in the Life. Now we have Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commando 70. Right, now in that last one, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., obviously is set in the future from this one. This is set in World War II. And in this, I didn't mention it in Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but one of the things he was concerned about was his age, thinking he might be too old to carry on with S.H.I.E.L.D. That was way back in 1969. And obviously, it's still going now, although I'm not sure what it's like in Marvel now. Have they got the different Nick Fury, the black guy? I'm not too sure. Anyway, this is another first appearance for these guys called the Missouri Marauders. Apparently they're a bunch of hillbillies. They were in the National Guard. They've been given some elite commando training. Anyway, they're in a pub in London here, wowing it up and, yahooing it and whatever and getting drunk, basically. You know what you Yanks are like when you come over here, stealing our women. Right. But meanwhile, Happy Sam Sawyer has got, he's in conference with Fury and Dum Dum and the rest of the Howling Commandos, and he's saying, we're going to meet up with this new attack squad, the Missouri Marauders, and he tells them all about the guys who are in there, and it's going to be their first mission for the Missouri Marauders, and Fury's not happy that he has to babysit for these blinking nursemaid, these new, hillbillies. I didn't know Missouri was hillbillies, but I don't really know America that well. There's a Reb guy who's from Kentucky, I think, and he's saying there's just this bit of saying I didn't really think anyone east of the river could read or that kind of something like that. So basically, there's I don't know if it's a north-south divide maybe, and I think these are from the north, and they're they're all blinking hillbillies, they're all hicks, they can't read and write, that kind of thing. Anyway, meanwhile, back in this pub in London, the Missouri Marauders get into a bit of a dust-up with some of their own sailors. I'm assuming it's their own sailors, actually. So you've got this voice of reason here from the young British lady that the guys are trying to chat up. She said, "Oh, come on now, mates. You fight for the same side, you do. So why don't you try to get along, what?" Which is what we all speak like here in London, obviously. I actually put an American accent on that by accident. That's because let's try again. "Oh, come on now, mates. You fight for the same side, you do. So why don't you get along?" Oh, I can't do that. Let's forget about it. They don't get along. That's the short story. They end up in a fight. So as they're running out after having a fight with these sailors, they bump into Fury coming in. And because, they're disciplined guys, they have a fight as well. So they're not really disciplined at all. So they just started you bog-trotting whatevers, basically slandering each other for where they come from, more or less. Can't bother. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Well, now don't tell them they teach you how to fight in Missouri, along with how to raise hogs. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Then they get into a fight. So they have a dust up. Say, look, there's no time for fighting. We've got to be on a plane heading to France in an hour. So they all go off on the mission together. They're flying over France. Basically, they fall into danger as they always do in these situations. Outnumbered by the Nazis, by Jerry, the two warring teams, the Missouri Marauders, and obviously Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. They don't get on. They're ribbing each other. One of them is deliberately mispronouncing the other guy's name. I didn't understand that because he says Leroy, L-E-E Roy, but his name is Leroy, just only one E, but I'm not quite sure how the pronunciation differs. Leroy and Leroy, as far as I can tell. I don't understand why it's Leroy and Leroy, but it's very weird. Maybe it's just the way he pronounced it. I don't understand it though. The way it's written, it looks like it's said exactly the same way. Anyway, so yeah, they basically get a begrudging respect for each other. Forged in battle. These two teams of men who would normally not, necessarily get along, as we can see when they first met up, they were ready for fisticuffs. That north-south divide, whatever. Snobbery of the city folk, against the country boys from Missouri, but they, when it comes, they're forged in battle, and they realise that each team is going to do their bit for the country, for country and whatever, and the pursuit of freedom. Then they get along with each other, and they sort of get a grudging respect. Anyway, but the next issue. In the boondocks stands a bridge. That's what their mission is. The mission is to go and destroy this bridge. I lost a little corner of a comic there. It just came off. Sometimes you get little loose corners and I can't even pick it up. Trust me, a little bit came off. Right. Anyway, so that was it. That is the end of that one. Right, then we have Charlton Comics Strange Suspense Stories. The witch doctor is dead, but the snake, where's the snake? Behold beauty. That story is one of the ones that I did in my 13 nights of Halloween. I'll put the link actually to that one. I'm not actually going to bother telling you about the story. I'm just going to make you go and watch the video because I didn't get enough views on those videos personally. I should have got loads more for the amount of work I put into it. I was going to do a Christmas series of horror videos, but I'm not now. I can't bothered. I couldn't find any Christmas stories, and then I stopped bothering, to be honest, because for the amount of work that goes into it, it's not really worth the effort. Right. So the first story, and this is Amortu's moon. This witch doctor guy, Amortu, he's healing poor Kajal, who was wounded by a buffalo. He was the guide for these two people. What are their names? Neville Smythe and Helen Bliss. And there's a strange green moon in the sky, which shouldn't be due in the sky. No moon should be in the sky at this time. And somehow it seems to be floating above the village. But the text in this is really bad, actually. Some of the way the word balloons are filled out, the lettering is just terrible. Like, I'm not sure it was like that originally, or whether it's worn out, or whether it was originally done pretty badly in the first place. But anyway, so once he manages to save this Kajal, who was on the point of death, and since then he sort of becomes like his thrall almost, because once he saved his life, Kajal is almost in his power, and his word of his medicine skill spreads, and now he's sort of saving chiefs of villages and tribes and that, and rich men. So so I think he saves some rich guy and gets given all his money. And they don't understand what's going on. Kajal is no longer friendly like he was before to Neville and Helen. And he's saying, "You're not friend, Amortu, not want you here," and he slaps him. Right, so they're not too sure what's going on with him. It turns out that green moon that they could see was actually a spaceship, and it's been given Amortu this power. It's actually been doing the healing for him. And once people have been healed, they become his thralls. They come under his hypnotic command. And the idea is that his word of his power should spread. So eventually, leaders of the great nations of Earth, as they become your slaves, our power will be absolute, and so your planet will be captured. That's the idea. Get a mortal to, brainwash, hypnotise all the world's leaders. Right now, Neville comes up with an idea. He gives them what they call green fire, which is 100-pound lump of plutonium, is it? Or uranium? Yeah, uranium. He says this is green like the moon that you worship, that gives you your power. I give it to you as a gift. So he sends it up to his alien masters. Heed me, alien masters. I have a strange gift for you. And it's all a bit weird. Don't be afraid, Helen. It's nearly over now. What will happen, Neville? I don't know it, Helen, but that amount of pure uranium around modern machinery is bound to have some effect. And it does. It blows up. But that's like the strangest story ever. It's like, how do you know it's going to have some effect? I don't think... Does uranium blow up when it's put near modern machinery? I highly doubt it. It just seems to me like they didn't know what the properties of uranium were and decided that it'd probably blow up. Yeah. How do we end this story? I don't know. Let's get something green that might blow up. I'm pretty sure uranium doesn't blow up when it's near modern machinery. I'm sure uranium obviously is to do with nuclear bombs, isn't it? They put it in nuclear bombs and they split the atom, don't they? But I don't think they're just sticking a bit of uranium next to some machinery is going to make it blow up. Anyway, next story, a house needs a friend. This is a house, an old and empty house, unwanted for the past few years. A house where neighbours whisper strange, dark deeds have been done. A house where no living people should ever live again. That is what the neighbours say. But real estate agent Fred Corby doesn't seem to share their viewpoint. So he's trying to sell this house to the Sims, the Mr. and Mrs. Sims. But the house already has an occupant who has lived there for many years, since the 1800s. An occupant who obviously is not alive. He was a nasty chap called Fothergill Tate. He hounded some man, ruined his life, and then had a duel with him. Now, in this duel, he gave him a pistol that was loaded, but he'd messed with the firing pin, so he couldn't fire. So not only did he destroy his life, he then ended his life in a fixed duel. Anyway, and the pistol that was the fixed pistol that won't fire is left on the mantelpiece. Anyway, this Fothergill Tate decides he wants some company. So Mrs. Sims is going to be his companion for the rest of time. Right, Mr. Sim goes in, manages to open the door where she's trapped. The Fothergill Tate's going to beat up and probably kill her husband, but she picks up the pistol for the mantelpiece. Obviously, it's a fake pistol that won't work, but somehow it does work. I can only assume that the spirit of the person who had that pistol, who was killed by Tate in that duel, somehow has made it so the pistol will work. And she says, "I did a funny, didn't I, Walt? I shot a man who wasn't there with a gun that couldn't work." And then they decide now the house is free of this spirit. They will live there. And so Walt and Amy live live snugly in their charming little house, not realising, of course, that a former tenant, while banished forevermore, hasn't gone far. So he's just basically, he's in the garden. He's been banished from the house, but he lives in the garden by the tree. And that was that story. And then we have this one, Behold Beauty. Now, as I said, one of my 13 nights of Halloween, I did this story. And yeah, you can watch it there rather than me having to go through it all again. Basically, man wants to get a jewel to win the heart of this woman that he loves, Divina. The witch doctor doesn't want to give him the jewel. It belongs to the bloody witch doctor's tribe. Why would he want to give it to him? So he decides to go and steal it. In the act of stealing it, he tries to shoot at this snake that he knows is there, and he accidentally kills the witch doctor. Anyway, he escapes with the jewel. He's caught by the tribe, but they let him go. They let him go with the jewel. So he flies back to the French Riviera with the jewel, gives it to Divina, and she suddenly turns into the witch doctor somehow. She suddenly has the witch doctor's mask on, and he dies of a heart attack. Yeah, no readily apparent reason for why that would be, but it doesn't matter. It's just a crazy story with twists, which is what these are. The Charlton comics aren't of as good quality as the Marvel and DC ones, I don't think. The stories are a little bit out there, but yeah, they're still quite good. They're still quirky, good fun. Anyway, so that was this week's look at some of my birthday books. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, Strange Suspense Stories, and Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, cheers for watching, guys and girls, and yeah, come back next Friday, and I'll go through some more of my books. Cheers!